want to be respectful in this podcast. We don't want to bash anybody. That's not the point of us coming together. We come together to empower other fathers, be supportive, and become a support system for one another. Tonight we do have a special guest, Mr. Kareem Fitts.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Welcome, brother, to the podcast.
I appreciate y'all for having me.
No problem at all, man. We're glad to have you here. You know, want you to give us a little insight and tell us, about your experience as a father, some of your big wins, small wins.
Okay.
And also, we got the regular panel with us tonight. We got Dr. Abdul Rashid.
Good evening. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And we got Mr. Jamon Glover.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, we're gonna go forward. I do want to ask you a couple questions, Kareem. Just if you would like to give us, some insight about who you are,
okay.
And then, actually, you can go into, telling us about your actual story. Brought you here tonight.
Hey, Roy, before we get started.
Yes, sir.
And it's something I think we need to do. I want to acknowledge, we're still recording, so.
Go ahead. I want to listen.
Just want to acknowledge that there's 3, 4, sometimes 5 entities that help bring this podcast.
Oh, yes, sir.
To
And
the
do
people.
some disclaimers. I think we have to do this. Go ahead. But
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm feeling some of that as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
And so first, Franklin Vance Warren Opportunity Incorporated for spearheading this, and Triangle North Foundation
Yes,
for
sir.
helping Vance County Cooperative Extensions.
Yes, sir.
Also,
Southern Charm
Event Center.
Yes, sir.
And Franklin Granville Vance Smart Start also.
Yes, sir.
They helped me out coming into this space.
Yes, sir. That's
I just
very,
want to
very
acknowledge-
important. Yeah,
acknowledge
we definitely
those
need
people.
to acknowledge, our partners, everybody who helped produce this podcast and put this podcast together, especially Mr. Dr. Rashid is the executive producer of this podcast. He had the idea, so we came together and collaborated to put this thing together, and it's been wonderful.
Let me also say, though, in the form of disclaimer, this is not a scientific research program. This is a program that is attempting to offer us a conversation to look at our own lived lives. We are not offering necessarily any more than observations that you should decide what can help make you a better man, a better father. We will at times present actual facts that are documented from reliable sources, but generally we are trying to create an environment for us at the table to have a conversation that will stimulate a conversation in your living room, in your church, in your organization, as how we can help us be better men and contributors to the constructive development of our families, of our communities, of our country. So I do want to disclaim, this is,
Yes, sir. Yes,
we
sir.
are just having a conversation.
Oh, yeah, we definitely have a conversation.
Absolutely.
We want you to hear this as an opportunity for you to decide what is valuable to you in terms of your own life journey.
What we call it, the grocery store method. When you're going down the aisles, you don't pick up everything you see.
That's
you pick
right.
up what you need.
Pick up what you need. Pick up what you need. Yeah, if it resonates with you, then take it with you.
That's it. Absolutely. And if you don't like it, leave it on the shelf.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and I definitely would have benefited, and I plan to benefit from this conversation. I've been through different things on my own struggle as a father. I've been raising 3 boys for the past 4 years, pretty much on my own. I do have some help, but a lot of the struggles and the things that I dealt with coming along actually puts me in a position to embody somebody who would need to have this conversation.
Absolutely.
And I'm the oldest dog at the table, and I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yes, sir.
I don't have it figured out.
Don't come with the instruction
I have
manuals.
great-grandchildren now. So I'm still trying to figure out how to be a better man and to make a better contribution to both their futures, but also to the future of this community, to this state, and to this nation. So
Right.
all of us are trying to figure it out.
Right.
All
Yes,
of us
sir.
are growing.
One of the things I've learned is it's actually not a destination. It's a continuous journey.
That's correct.
So
That's
Yes,
correct.
sir. That's one of the reasons we call them the big wins and small wins, because it's not something that we're gonna just have it all, or just one
Figure
day
it
it's
out,
gonna
right.
be all figured out. But we're gonna constantly progress. We're gonna accept the big wins, and we're gonna gradually get these small wins on a day-to-day basis.
right.
Yes, sir. So if
So-
you want to get into it, Kareem, go
Okay.
ahead and you can tell us, exactly what brought you here today to.
Okay, so I'm a product of Henderson, North Carolina. From here, born and raised. I'm one of 6 kids, the baby child. My mom and my dad are still together today, product of a 2-parent household. And what brought me here today, we're all fathers. I know for myself, when, my daughter was born, it changed my life. I always thought, I was 28 at the time. I'm 28 years old. I'm a grown man. It wasn't until I seen her for the very first time that I became a man. Just embodied the selflessness. It was just a lot that came with it, and it was one of the most proudest moments of my life to date. And the reason why, and this is gonna be, this is the first time that I've actually shared this or even spoke on this. Growing up, like I said, 2-parent household, throughout my childhood, there were times where even into my adulthood that I was resentful of my father. Even though he was there, it was just the feeling like, he wasn't the father that I thought he should be in my eyes, and it didn't hit me until I became a father of my own that, again, being a parent, mom or dad, it doesn't come with an instruction manual, so as I got older, I seen, he was just doing the best that he could. He was also, raising me how he was raised in a sense. So it was a lot of resentment, even though he was there. And I grew up with so many people that didn't have their dads there.
Say a little bit for me what it is that you had as expectations of your father in terms of a man.
Okay, just
What was generating? What was creating
that
this
resentment?
This
Yeah.
resentment.
The resentment was, it was times I could recollect that, sometimes, I needed a father, but sometimes I needed a friend. And when I say that, I mean, from an emotional standpoint, older generations of men, they weren't as emotional.
Right, they didn't talk to you as much, yeah.
A lot of stuff that I learned, going through heartbreaks and just learning things, you had to learn it on your own. It was never really a conversation had. But it didn't take until I became a man to understand that, and become a father, for myself. But again, I had my daughter, proudest moment of my life. Maybe I raised her from the time she was born till she was like 3, right? So situation happened, her mom took her away from me. Cold turkey. 3 years I went without seeing her, talking to her, no conversation, no nothing. Sent me into a deep depression. And again, in the black community, therapy and stuff like that, that's kind of far-fetched. Like, who do you talk to about your situations, or who do you go to? Who do you vent to? So it just sent me into a deep depression. Just to be honest, thoughts of suicide. It's just, I was lost. I was really lost. It took a lot for me to, get myself out of this situation. And one thing that I can speak to anybody that's going through anything, one day at a time. You make one day a positive day, and you stack those days on top of each other, and you'll eventually begin to pull yourself out. Yes, sir.
How old was your daughter when you were going through, you didn't see her for those 3 years?
You said
How old was she?
Well, the last time I seen her, she was about 3. The next time I actually put eyes on her, she was about to turn 7.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I went through the whole CPS thing, just looking for help. a lot of losses, a lot of tears, a lot of heartbreak, agony, pain, feeling like defeated, And I just, just for being a father. And what stuck with me the most was that, again, the resentment I had for my dad, I just wanted to be the dad that I thought I wanted as a child. So, and,
Why did you think you needed to charge this responsibility to your father?
I didn't feel as though, I needed to charge that responsibility to him. It was just, again, growing up with that resentment, not, the part of me that wanted, a friend at times, to, if I'm crying or going through something, I want you to, coddle me a little bit, let me know it's going to be okay. He wasn't really, the emotional type. And
You spoke earlier about needing more communication.
Yes, sir.
More contact, more engagement,
Yes, sir.
more listening
Absolutely.
from your father.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Just, I don't know, just the internal feelings of times where, you just want to express yourself and be heard. And actually, it's funny, maybe like a week ago, again, going through a little personal issue and just, being around each other. I'm 39, and it was the first time I actually felt seen by him. So, he said something to me like, Kareem, you're going through something. What's on your mind? And that was the first time that I could, recall that he ever, acknowledged something emotionally, So it was huge to me. It was huge. It was huge. I actually had to step away a little bit and shed a few tears because, that's how important it was to me.
Let me, again, as the old guard in the room,
The OG.
say that what you are articulating really is probably somewhat of a norm in our community.
Absolutely.
For
Absolutely.
black men
Yes, sir.
in particular. I, too, grew up in a household situation with a male figure who wasn't my biological father, but also, too, did not provide that emotional infrastructure
Yes, sir.
or comfort that I needed as a young boy growing up in the community. In a more formal sense, my professional here would tell me that's part of the role of protection. One of the
Providing,
first
yes, sir.
things that they say that we should be as men and as fathers is a protector. And what I hear you sharing, which I also share, is that I didn't feel that I had the protection from not just the single male in my household, but the males in the
Community as a whole, right?
as
right.
a whole that didn't, in fact, recognize my emotional needs.
Right.
But they were excellent role models of hard work,
Absolutely.
of those kind of
Right,
things.
right.
But they did not provide that emotional support and that communication in the generations that I've lived.
Right.
So I want to offer you that.
And that's the thing, as far as, providing, again, so many of my peers, I grew up in Green Acres, and maybe out of 50 apartments, maybe 3 or 4 had a mom and a dad in the household. Right. So I felt grateful for that, and my dad was the ultimate provider. We never went without. Household full of love, but in terms of those times where, you may need that emotional support, he was more of a drill sergeant, so to speak, than just emotional,
Yeah.
And that can, it could create a little bit of resentment because
Right.
when you're a child, you don't know,
You don't know.
what to believe. You see things from a childlike point of view or a childlike lens. So, yeah, again, it didn't take until I became a man to see that,
How old is your father?
My dad is 74. Dad, if you see this, don't be mad at me. But yeah, he's 74.
74.
Right.
So I noticed something in my mid-20s. The man my father was when I was growing up, he was a drill sergeant. I was his 8th child and his 2 below me.
Yeah.
And he was at the tail end of his hot boy days
Yeah.
when I came along. And he was trying to figure out how to be a father
Right.
to the 8th child.
Right.
And he went through the drill sergeant, strict hands-on,
Yeah.
over punishments, isolation from my cousins who lived in Young Avenue apartments. He
Yeah.
was right around the corner. And don't keep going over there. You gonna see. Don't go over there.
Right. Right.
And I'm just like, bro, but they enjoying life. They having fun.
Right.
I just want to go have fun.
That's it.
Man, listen. Growing up, man, me and my brothers, we used to say that our dad was the boogeyman. but it's funny, it's funny because we became adults eventually, and to look back and see what he was instilling in us, it was beautiful. There would be days we would get off the bus, get out of school, do our homework, we were ready to go outside. I mean, whole projects outside playing now, y'all can't go outside today.
Yep.
And at the time, we didn't understand, why would you, prohibit us from having fun? But, this particular day, guy gets shot right beside our house, The day we want to go outside, his hindsight was just immaculate. The way he provided for my mom, provided for our family again, never went without. But it was just, not knowing and not being a father and, that resentment. Now I feel so bad, I feel so bad.
So being a provider, because now you're talking about that second pillar
Yes, sir.
that we have as an expectation of us as men, protector and provider.
Yes, sir.
You're suggesting that provider isn't just enough to help us to grow healthy as men from our fathers. We need more than, I hear you saying, I don't want to put words in your mouth,
right.
but I hear you suggesting that provider is not just enough to have us grow healthy as men.
Yeah, I would like to think of it and look at it in a sense of providing as a whole, right?
More than financial.
More than financial, more than just, making a way, even being emotionally available and emotionally mature. That is a part of providing, because how often do you just, go to your parents and, tell them what's on your mind, And I think, once we begin to change that narrative, that I would rather you learn from me than learn from your peers or learn from people who don't have your best interest.
That's where I'm kind of heading with when I say I observed in my 20s.
Yeah.
I started seeing when I'm out of the house now, I'm watching my dad mature
Right.
emotionally.
Right.
And it scared me at first because I'm thinking, is he about to die?
Right.
What's wrong? What's going on with
Right.
him? And it wasn't until my children hit 15, 16, 17 that I realized they don't need drill sergeant daddy all the time.
Right.
Sometimes they need soft dad.
Right.
Sometimes they need financial planning dad.
Right.
They need all the sides. And it took me a long time to get past my trauma of the drill sergeant,
Right.
my trauma of the quote unquote abuse, right?
How you grew up.
How
right.
I grew up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I'm just like you. I wanted to be a better father. I
Right.
just wanted to be a better father.
Right.
And so my 4-year-old told me he didn't want me to be his dad anymore. He wanted the neighbor to be his dad.
Right.
And bruh, that changed my world.
Right.
That's why I do the work that I do now.
Right. Absolutely.
And I have 5 children. I finally got it right most days
Yeah. Right.
Small wins, man.
with the last one.
Yeah.
And so now watching my children have children, and now they come to me for advice. They come to me, I'm like, man, didn't I mess up? They're like, no, Dad, you did this. We
Right.
appreciate it. I'm like, oh.
Right.
So my children help me mature
Right.
as I
Right.
watch my dad mature.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's beautiful and it's been a struggle.
Yeah.
Just to get back where we were. Again, I went almost 4 years without seeing my daughter. When I saw her for the next time, man, so many emotions that I had buried away through going to work and making money. And, I was driving for a railroad contract. I was making good money. And it's funny how God worked, honestly, because God will give you things that you think you want just to show you that's not what you need.
Exactly.
No, that was one of the biggest life lessons that I will, take to the grave. But it was a struggle. I saw my daughter again, and one of the odd things that it still kind of haunt me to this day is that, you know, the last time I saw my daughter, she was 3. When I saw her again, in my mind, I expected her to be this 3-year-old, you know.
Yeah.
You just set that image of her.
Man,
being free.
to this day, you know, I feel like tears coming on now because, you know, like it was such a strong feeling that, you know, now she got her own mindset. She, you know, has her own little attitude, her own little, you know. So now you know, it was a struggle at first, me trying to just cope with that and just realize that she's not a 3-year-old little baby anymore, and you know, she tries to be independent as possible, and you know, things like that. Man, it's just
That like a real hard adjustment, knowing that you had to, in your mind, she was 3 years old, but when you saw you had to treat her different, talk to her different,
right.
everything was different.
yeah, it was at first until I actually sat myself down and I said, what's easier, you conform to her or have her try to conform to you? And when I thought about it logically, it didn't make sense because she wasn't 3 anymore. You know, she
Had to relearn her.
Yeah, had to relearn her, and you know, a lot of memories that we created, she kind of forgot about, and you know, it was an adjustment period. It was hurtful, you know, but you know, I still pushed through. But leading up, you know, from that moment, you know, I tried to build the best relationship as possible with her mom, and you know, it was still some of, you know, the toxicity, but I never gave up. You know, a lot of times I pushed this to the side for my own sanity and just, you know, I used to think like, you know, if it wasn't for my PlayStation, I probably wouldn't be here. You know,
Yeah.
it really like saved my life just to be able to escape reality for a moment.
Yeah.
And this was during the period COVID happened, the world shut down. I remember days I was just lost, sitting in the back room just playing the game, you know. But again, you know, you're going through something, anybody looking. One positive day, you stack that on top of each other, and you know, you eventually begin to pull yourself out.
Yeah, that's a good word. I'm curious about the mindset of why she took your daughter from you and how you was able to rebuild that bridge.
Truthfully, I was never able to rebuild it. I just had to change my mindset, and instead of, you know, really focusing on what she was doing wrong, I just had to focus on what I needed to do to be right. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, you know, for example, I would be at work, you know, I work down the road, so when I come home, I would kind of set it up like, hey, can I come pick Lauren up this weekend? And it would be a situation where, I'll bring her to you. So I would literally sit, I only had 2 days at home, so
Yeah.
I would literally sit home all day and she would never bring her. Yeah. So instead of me, you know, getting upset and, you know, making the situation worse, I just, you know, began to bite my tongue and just, you know, just pace it out, you know, because I knew at the end of the day, you know, it would work out in my favor. Thank God for my mom. Oh my God. Thank God for my mom.
And let me also commend you for your response and the way that you managed that.
Yeah, it was a growth process. It was a growth process, but you know, the definition of insanity is doing something repeatedly and expecting a different outcome.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me also say the data suggests that your generations have used the PlayStation and the other games as a means to manage some of what you're going through.
Right.
Okay. And then the data also suggests that in a lot of cases has been a negative impact on us as men.
Yeah.
And our growth and our development. It sounds like you used the PlayStation and that inner sanctum of that experience to help you become a more controlled and positive and constructive individual.
Yes, sir.
But I want us to look around and Google what data says about the impact of technology
You're right.
now on the lives, maybe not of your generation, but of the current generations coming up now. Right. It is actually contributing to the isolations, the lack of communication, the lack of sensitivity, the lack of socialization. So I want to sort of push back, or at least commend you
Right.
on saying that it appears that your use of that time and that technology was constructive for you.
Yeah, and I can agree with you. Technology as far as video games, there are downfalls to that. But in my sense, I had to use it for another avenue.
Good. No, that's excellent.
Right.
That's wonderful.
It saved my life, truthfully, and I really don't know if I would be here today without that. The world had shut down. Like, you couldn't go nowhere. Like, it was nothing to do. All you had was your thoughts.
Your mind just constantly
Right.
racing. So it was an outlet for you to just shut everything,
Right. So
get away from it for a moment,
I
come
just
back
took
to
that
it.
time to just,
Where were your boys? You had friends. Where were the guys? Where were your partners? Where were they?
that's another thing I want to speak about. Especially in our community. When it's time to turn up and have fun and go out and do this and do that,
Everybody show up.
everybody's there. But how many of your friends, your closest friends that you can go to and cry in front of them? The feeling of being a man with your pride and your ego, that versus vulnerability, that's tough. That's tough. How can I go to my best friend and be vulnerable and cry? Yeah, it sounds, like the right thing to do or the easiest thing to do, but it's not.
So as a man, we've got to learn how to be able to share
Right.
our real feelings and our emotions with other men,
Right.
with the hope that they won't see that as weakness.
Right. And that's a stigma in our community, and in our communities, just being a man. If you cry, you're weak. If you show that ounce of vulnerability, you're soft. And I think that just prohibits us from so much greatness, as individuals, but in a larger scale, a community. I should be able to come to you and say, "Hey, brother, I'm struggling with this."
Yeah.
It's-
You can.
Yeah.
Thank you,
And that's
thank you,
actually
thank
real
you.
strength. That's
Right,
actually
right,
real
right.
strength.
It's real
when
strength.
when you can.
Man, for so long, I suffered in silence, just being embarrassed. Just, again, just how I grew up. That's what I wanted. So to be a quote baby daddy, it was just so embarrassing to me. I didn't want to speak on it. I just, man, if y'all only knew. But I'm still here
Was that
today.
the most embarrassing part about it? Just the baby daddy part, or just not having a relationship with the mom, or
Truthfully, if I'm being candid, it's just creating a broken home. That was, monumental to me. I seen my dad, man, just him and my mom still together today. I've seen them, have their spouse and go 2 or 3 days without talking, but they never gave up on each other. They never gave up on us. So,
they came up in those times.
yeah,
back in the day.
they came up in some
Different
rough times, late 80s and whatnot, man. It was rough, but just to see them make it through and persevere, like that's a lifelong lesson.
I'm a 50-year trooper.
Man, I commend you.
I commend you too.
I commend you, but
Trust me.
But it's a beautiful thing though, because
But she still threatens to put me out every week.
yeah, they keep you on your toes.
Not every day.
Yeah, that's gonna keep you on your toes.
But it's still, it could change. This may be a different story when you see me.
Well, man, I commend you, man. Just to look at my parents today, man. They best friends. That fairy tale love that we, often look for and search for. Like, I see them live it every day, and again, just that having a child and creating a broken home, it's just something that's hard to bear with. But it is what it is.
Yeah, bro. Look.
I'll also share with you that I never lived with my mother or my father. Never, ever. Wow. Didn't know who my father was until I was 21 years old.
Wow.
First time I ever heard his name spoken.
Yeah.
And to meet him at 21 after no knowledge of him. And again, like I say, never having lived with my mother. But that's a story for another day.
Okay.
So as we talk about this broken home piece,
Yeah.
and its impact on us becoming and being men. There's some lessons that we can learn there.
Exactly. But yeah, it's been rough, man. But just to get back to the story, man. So for the next year and a half, like I said, my daughter's about to turn 7. So last year, never forget it. It was maybe the middle of June. I hit my daughter mom up like, "Hey, can I come pick her up?" She like, "Yeah." So I go pick her up. Have a good weekend. Sunday come, man. It's time for me to take her back home. I got to go to work, She said, "Daddy, if you love me, you won't take me back." Man, broke me, man. Like right now, I still feel those emotions. Daddy, if you love me, you won't take me back. So,
Is that a turning point for you? Is that something that sparked something in you?
yeah, it was, man. It was. I don't know, just the thought of not knowing, for her to say that, not knowing what she went through or what she was going through. And again, like we alluded to earlier, you want to be that provider and protector,
That's right.
So, I mean, forgive me, y'all. I ain't even.
No, man.
No,
good, bro.
it's all good. And,
But,
and we feel you.
yeah,
Trust me,
but-
I feel you.
But so yeah, when she told me that, I knew I couldn't take her back. So I called her mom like, "Hey, we need to have a conversation." I'm like, "Hey, we need to have a conversation or whatnot." So she wasn't trying to hear it. She just like, your child 8, she don't know what she want. So it was rough, man. So now I had to navigate and figure out, okay, how am I going to secure somebody to watch her while I'm at work? How, all the negatives and the doubt, they crept in, man. It was rough, but so I made it through. So it was kind of a long summer, and I remember, every time I got weak, like I had to go to work and I ain't had no babysitter. I would get weak and like, "Dag, I got to take her back." But then her mom would call me and just say something crazy, and it would just give me the energy to just push through. Whether so that went on for a while. So, end of summer coming now, I made the necessary steps to enroll her in school, got her in school. Had a great morning the first day of her 3rd grade year. I drop off at school just thinking, man, I made it. Get a call hour and a half later. I'm in the middle of a haircut. I'm talking about hair just halfway cut, Secretary called me like, "Her mom is up here. By law, we can't stop her from going. You need to get up here fast." So,
Wow.
man, I jump out the barbershop, man. I get to the school. They won't let me in. So I'm peering through the glass, and I see my daughter standing kind of like defensive. And I see her mom there talking, and she see me, and she just run to me. So her mom comes after her, and now they're in the middle of the school. I don't want to say the school, but they're in the middle of the area in front of the school. Her mom is chasing her around. And at this point, man, school administrators, police has showed up. For so long, it had been my word versus her word. Oh, he's just a bitter dad that just, now people with some type of status could corroborate what had been happening.
Yeah.
I had been to CPS. I had been to court, And truthfully, if we're going to be honest, I felt like they failed me. But, at that point, I couldn't, harp on it. That wasn't the time. So my daughter eventually spoke to the police. They asked her, why you don't want to go with your mom? My daughter was like, because I ate the last piece of chicken. She didn't want me to be fat. She broke my tablet. Or I couldn't find my shoes for school, Daddy, and she beat me. So immediately the officer sent me to the courthouse, and they gave me temporary custody, right? So that was kind of, it was a small win.
Big win. No,
That's a huge
big
win. Yeah.
Yeah, but in the grand scheme, it was a small win.
In the process.
Yeah, it was a small, but it was a big win because,
In the moment.
yeah,
In the moment.
again, man, I had been fighting for 8 years.
Right.
8.
Look,
hard years.
let's take a quick break. I need a break. That story kind of got me discombobulated just a little bit.
And it's the God's honest truth. It's the,
But I did want to ask one question too.
what's up?
Do you feel like they weren't paying attention to you because you were a man? Like if you think the roles were reversed and you might have been a woman coming.
See, that's fine. Now, let's break before we get into that.
Okay.
Let's break before we get into
Go
that.
ahead. Go ahead.
Because I knew where it was going. All right, let's take a quick break.
Thanks. Welcome back to the Dogs Podcast.
Man,
Yes, sir.
had to go wipe my eyes. And
Yeah, we
had to give my man a hug here.
I apologize, y'all, man.
Oh, bro,
you completely fine, man.
I appreciate y'all, man. I for so long I suffered in silence, and I'm just really, well, I knew you, but
Yeah.
just even with the audience, I felt like it was a safe space.
That's what we want to be, man. We definitely
Felt like it was a safe space.
want to be a safe space. We want to be, somewhere men can have outlet, have these
Absolutely.
conversations. Dr. Rashid did have to step out, but we do want to continue on, the story. You letting us know, your story.
Right.
And yep, whenever you're ready, man.
Yeah. So where did I leave off? Where the whole little
Temporary custody.
Yeah, okay, so the whole little situation happened at the school. They immediately sent me to the courthouse. They gave me temporary custody. So this was last year. Within the last year, man, I think I've been to court 20 times. I remember maybe like the second or third time, I'm at work. So I'm 10 minutes late getting there. They had already called my name. They had dismissed the case. Right. And this is facts. They dismissed it. So I had to refile it in my daughter's name, DVPO, whatever. But I just lost 2 jobs having to go to court. It's crazy.
Wow.
So she had an attorney. She was fighting you for it, or
Yeah, she had an attorney. Man, I represented myself. I ain't had the money for a lawyer. I didn't know, law jargon. So we went through a whole little trial or whatever, and
Learning phase.
all the evidence that I had, it was objected and not allowed into evidence. So now I'm just, man, if y'all only knew. But so leading up through the court cases, I was saying that, hey, like, these things have been going on. I'm not trying to keep our child away from her. I just, want her to have a home study by CPS, which they did for me. I asked that she, have some type of substance abuse counseling and undergo a psychiatric evaluation, and that the visitation be supervised. Me and her lawyer, we went in the back room. We agreed to all of these things. We brought her before the judge. The judge signed the order. Now, I have temporary custody and she has visitation. So the very first visitation, I dropped off at the church where the visitation was being held at. None of the stipulations that were supposed to be, that were in the court order, none of them were honored. She wasn't supposed to take her away from that place. She took her away. It was supposed to be supervised. It wasn't supervised. Immediately when my daughter got back into the car, she said, Daddy, you think I can go back and stay with my mom? Right. It hurt me, right? It hurt me because I knew where it came from. But at the same time, it didn't, because I didn't want to show her that, I was trying to keep her away from her mom, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
so, I kind of, acknowledged what she asked and, just said, we'll see, But the whole time I knew no, but, I couldn't show her that. So time moved on. We had the visitation agreement was that her mom would come pick her up Monday, and she would keep it to Thursday. Thursday, she would ride the bus to my house. I keep her over the weekend. We, and that went on for a while.
so like a joint custody?
Right.
Okay.
So just crazy stuff was happening, like, being a dad, I'm used to just going into the barbershop, Exquisite, or going to East Side, just going, sitting in the chair, getting my hair cut, and then I'm on my way.
Yeah.
With a daughter, you got to plan ahead of time to make sure somebody can do her hair and, you know.
Right. It's a different process.
Right.
Yeah.
And thank God my support system, man. Courtney, shout out to Courtney. My mom, Courtney would do her hair and her mom would be mad. So I would get it done over the weekend. Monday when she come home, hair taken out. Brand new hairdo I paid $150 for. You know, just stuff like that, man. Just
Small, petty stuff.
right. But stuff like that, you know, it'll break you down when, again, I had lost 2 jobs just having to go to court. You know, I didn't have it. You know, truthfully, you know, being candid, I didn't have it. You know, so I made it, but you know, again, so that stuff went on, man, for a while. Kind of just getting set in stone. I remember maybe early part of June of this year, get a call while I'm at work. You need to come up here. Your daughter don't want to go with her mom. I get up there. It's a court order in place. I can't do nothing.
Yeah.
She has to go with her mom. So the next weekend, man, that Monday, I went to work. I was working at a group home. I go to work 4 o'clock. I get off 12. I leave Norlana. I'm living in Lewisburg with my girlfriend. I get home, go to sleep. I get up. I got like 20 missed calls. I'm like, oh, Lord, when that happened? Talk to my mom. She like, you need to call CPS. You got to go pick up Lauren. No details, no. So I'm racing to jewelry. Mine is just on 1,000. And I get there. I pull up in the driveway. My daughter standing outside barefooted, look disheveled, hair all over the place. I asked her what happened. Her mom cut her hair out. Cut her hair out. Bit her. Bit on her stomach area.
You say bit her?
Bit her. I have pictures. I have evidence. Bit her. Punched her in the eye. You know. So, like, you're supposed to be a protector.
Yeah.
You know, you're supposed to be a protector.
Yeah.
And systems that's set in place to speak up for kids who can't speak up for themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like, I went to court. I told him that certain things need to take place, just to ensure my child's safety. Like, she was failed. Like, literally cut my daughter's hair out. My daughter had long hair. Cut it out, the middle of it. Like, it was so short that, girls that get braids, their hair will slip out if the hair isn't long enough to catch.
Yeah.
Like, it was so short. Thank God for Tasha, man. Tasha Branch, she did my baby hair, didn't charge me nothing, man. The community was just, they had my back, man. And, that was another reason, that gave me a reason to fight. But, yeah, all that stuff happened, man. My daughter said, Daddy, why'd she do that to me? Did she not want me to like myself when I look in the mirror? Like, what answers can you give?
Yeah.
I ain't had the answers for that, man. And again, like, so long, bro, I suffered in silence. Yeah. Being ashamed, not wanting to let people know what go on in your personal life, or giving people, something to talk about. I suffered in silence, man, but I couldn't do it then. So I kept calling, man. Went to the magistrate here. They gave me the runaround. Went to the magistrate in Warrenton. They gave me the runaround. Like, she hadn't got arrested. It was just so much stuff that went on that, I would never thought. But at that point, man, they pretty much gave me full custody. I still had to go to court and stuff. I was still paying child support. And actually,
After you had custody, you
custody.
Still had to pay child support.
Yeah, I eventually, got that taken care of. But, just
right.
times where, I lost my job or arrears pile up, you still got to pay it.
Still got to pay it.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, just being honest, got a $400 child support payment I paid to her today. It's arrears, but,
right.
It's just.
Paying on something.
Yeah.
Right.
How long ago was that part of the process? From cutting her hair out and biting her until today?
This was in June. This was in July. So July to now.
Oh, this year.
This year.
This year.
Oh,
This year.
I was thinking it was maybe a year or two ago.
Yeah, nah, this year. This happened this year in July.
And then, you know, the challenge that you have to face, you know, dealing with a child that had been through so many traumatic events and, you know.
Brother, we ain't even got there yet.
Yeah.
So again, just, you know, I applaud all single mothers, single parents, single dads. Bro, it is not easy. It is one of the most difficult, challenging things that you could ever endure, man. And then I'm a dad with a daughter with traumatic experiences. For example, you know, my daughter would lie really bad or tell me whatever she thought I wanted to hear in the moment, just so she wouldn't get in trouble.
It's trauma.
You know, just maybe 2 weeks ago, you know, we driving, we coming up Young Avenue, you know, when we just having a little casual conversation, I said, you know, what, you think I don't love you? You think I don't care? And she like, well, you know, Daddy, my mama put it in my head so much that, you know, I didn't know. And it hurt me, man, because again, you know, listen to my story and how I grew up and my family, and like, bro, all I ever wanted to be was a good dad.
Yep.
You feel me? Like that's the stuff that, you know, it kind of eat at your soul a little bit. But, you know, just being emotionally and mentally mature, I ain't hold it against her. It's just, you know, how could you, you know, alienate a dad that really want to be a dad? And don't get me wrong, there's some dads out here that don't, you know, take care of their responsibilities as they should.
Yeah.
Right.
You feel me? But when you find a man that really wants to be a dad and be, you know, a cornerstone in their child life, man, you don't take those things for granted or try to deteriorate that.
Are you guys, you and your daughter, y'all doing therapy at all?
Man, so boom, we just had like our second therapy session. What's today? Tuesday. I want to say this was like Thursday. I went right down here to women, children, and families.
Families right
here.
down,
right here.
right down on- okay.
Right. So,
Yeah.
man, it was such a relief just being able to vent and just, you know, somebody objective to you know, just talk to her and, you know,
Kind of mediate the conversation.
and let it make sense to her. Just, you know, but therapy, you know, it's been huge. You know, scared to death. I didn't know, you know, how to feel about therapy or going to therapy or, you know,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have been to therapy. So I mean, and it's needed.
Yeah.
And to anybody, if you need it, go get it. Go get it. To
Yeah.
you, whoever's looking, whoever's watching, you're going through something, you don't have nobody to talk to, man, find your therapist. And even within, you know, a lot of times people don't have the money for that. You know, that's another obstacle that you gotta face.
Yeah.
We do have to commend you for not giving up, because it's so many men that's probably in your shoes that just couldn't go through that long fight.
It's a long fight,
battle,
man.
That was a long battle.
It's gonna test you. It's gonna test everything you ever thought you knew about you.
Yeah.
You know, knew about yourself. Again,
So,
you know.
I do have a question.
So,
Because there are guys go through this a lot. My oldest daughter's mom, I was in the military at the time, and she didn't like the fact that I was mooshing them. She broke up with me, but she didn't like the fact that I moved on.
right.
And so she did the whole alienation thing, and I literally had to get an attorney early and write her a letter stating that if she didn't release my daughter to be with me, as we agreed in our agreements, that I was going to go for full custody.
Right.
And I eventually, and at the time, she wasn't living the most upstanding life. So I had a lot more leverage to stand on. But I realized that trying to do it through the local courts and DSS, I've hit brick walls too.
Right.
So my question to you is, what do you think was the breakdown? Were you not respected? Were you not believed? What was it?
Man, truthfully, man, and I still struggle with this because again, you know, these people go to schools and get these degrees, but you know, they're bound by law, you know.
Yeah.
So my mind, my logic would say, y'all are in these positions to speak up for kids and disadvantaged people who can't speak up for themselves, right? That's my logic. But when it comes to, these type of situations, everybody tends to hide behind the law just to, cover their own butt. Understandably so, because you got your own household to feed, you got your own stuff going on, but that could be the difference in somebody's life. How many times y'all look at the news and y'all see a kid that something happened to them by somebody that's supposed to protect them and provide, and
Every day.
that happens every day. I just think it's a letdown, man. I think it's a conversation that need to be had, legislatively, judicially, or whatever you want to. I think our laws need to change, man. It's outdated for one.
Yep.
Just my personal opinion. It feels like it's a one size fits all type of program, but all cases are not created equally.
Not the same.
They're not the same. So but yeah, that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, man, I so many times I had the door shut in my face, man. Like, had to tuck my tail and run and cry to myself, like,
Right.
and jump on the game and play 2K and just get away from it for right then, man. It sounds far fetched, but it's the God's honest truth for how.
No, man, I believe you, because the words that I used to always hear, even in the work that I do today, I hear best interest of the child, right? I've been doing a lot of trainings lately on male engagement for like service providers,
Right.
Because as a male, when we go into the DSS, the CPS,
Doctor office.
doctor's office, a lot of they're mostly ladies, and
Used to talk to ladies.
yeah, so as a guy, you kind of feel invisible and unseen, unheard when you go in those spaces. And so, what would you say to the guy who's coming right behind you in a very similar situation? Have you learned something that could help him navigate better?
And to be honest, man, this is why I came on and do this podcast. Man, I've been here roll up like, man, I want to come on. Okay, so going through this process, man, going through court, I represented myself. I didn't have the money for a lawyer. Everybody's quick to say, oh, if you're a dad, you really want to be a dad, go through the court systems, go get a lawyer.
Yeah.
But they don't tell you this could cost $10,000.
Yep.
They don't tell you that up front, your attorney may want a $3,500 retainer.
Yep.
So what do you do? But to any man, woman, anybody that's going through this, I took the losses so you don't have to, right? So this is what you do. You go to your clerk of court. You ask for a joint custody form. You fill it out. Make sure all the information is correct. It's going to cost you $150. If you don't have the money, or whatever your situation is, just let them know, hey, I'm indigent, and maybe they can waive their fee. You file the paperwork out within, I want to say, 10 days. You guys will be sitting in front of a custody mediator, and you can work out, whatever it is you need to work out. Disclaimer. If you're not ready to step up and be a full-time parent, this is not the route for you. Just deal with whatever the circumstances. But if you're really real about, being in your child life, go to the clerk of court, pay $150, fill out the custody form, and you will have a mediator. And if y'all don't agree with the mediator, then it goes to what's called family court or custody, and then it's up to you to prove your case.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
At that point, why did they say your evidence was how were they able to get it thrown out or not be used in court?
Because fortunately, I didn't have a law degree. I didn't know about the law. I didn't know how you introduce evidence. I didn't know that when you go to court, you can't say, yeah, my daughter told me that her mom did X, Y, and Z. Well, no, we don't take hearsay. And another thing, so when we was going through court, you know, my daughter actually spoke to the judge before they granted the DVPO. So throughout the process, they asked my daughter to testify to what had happened to her. So my daughter's, 9 at this time. She's 9.
Yeah.
Asking her to testify against
Her mother.
her mom is, and if you know my child, is, so we go to court and the judge is like, hey, she doesn't want to testify, so we can't convict her with just no testimony, or so they gave her, the visitation.
Yeah.
But through that visitation, she was able to do what she did,
Yeah.
So that's, just stuff like that's happened that
And that's a hard thing because
that's a hard pill to swallow, bro. Hard pill.
Kids they'll love their parents or their mother through thick and thin.
Thick and thin.
No matter what.
Right.
That's their parent. So
Right.
it's hard.
Yeah. That's why they say hurt people hurt people.
Right.
I mean, early trauma, a child don't know that that's not normal.
Facts.
To them, that is normal. And so as they're experiencing things, they take it on the chin because this
Right.
must happen to everybody. This must be what life is.
It's his life.
And crazy thing is, going through this process, I actually had to do research, and you got to see that 70% of kids that grow up in environments like that tend to repeat it when they become adults.
Yeah.
And I didn't want my daughter looking or searching for love and validation and the wrong men, and that's a crazy slope to go down.
It is. That's you actually just said it, that the guys who do want to stand up and be the father that they
Yeah.
desire to be,
Right.
they catch the most flack.
Right.
Because a lot of times that partner loves the toxicity because that's all they know.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, man, it was rough, man. It was a journey. It's still a journey. But I'm here to say right now I got custody of my daughter. She's AB honor roll. Some of the stuff that she struggled with in the beginning, I'm seeing progress. Shout out to my support system. Y'all know who y'all are. Yeah, it's a journey though, bro.
Yeah.
Just being, we grown men, just being honest, being a dad with a daughter.
Yeah.
Funny story, she came in one day and some test she didn't pass and she just don't want to speak. So I'm like, Lauren, what's wrong? She break down, "Ooh, I didn't pass my test," crying. And the man in me wanted to say, suck it up.
suck
Don't
that up,
get
man.
right. But then I had to, be conscious of who I was speaking to.
That's
I'm like,
it.
I just let her sit there and cry her heart out and try to coach her through that moment emotionally,
Yeah.
Right.
And then, just man, it's just so much, man. Just being candid, man. My daughter got her cycle.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah,
listen,
I went through that,
listen,
man.
yeah.
I
Listen,
went through that with my daughter.
listen. Man, I'm already trying to, manage my own stuff at that moment. I'm sitting outside in my car just trying to get my thoughts together, man. And she come to the door like, "Daddy, I don't know what's going on." And man, lo and behold, man, for the next 2 nights, I ain't sleep. Stayed up crying.
In pain.
Man, just
no
oh
lose.
my God.
Yeah.
Just,
Yep. I dealt with that.
man, it's man. Just being honest, bro.
I have 3.
Man, listen.
I have 3 daughters.
Listen,
I know.
man.
Yeah.
Listen.
Break it down.
Listen, like a
Them
12
daughters,
shotgun.
them daughters.
bro.
Hey, it's something about sons, but them daughters, they'll
man.
break you down. They got a certain button on you.
Yeah.
That them sons.
Yeah, man. But man, truth be told, man, it's been a process, man. I'm conflicted now. It feels good. It's what I always wanted, but now the hard part starts. Just imagine building a $5 million house on a rocky foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I gotta tear down this foundation and build a new one.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part. But I'm up for the challenge, man.
No
to be
doubt.
honest, it's been one of the most rewarding things that I never thought I could, do for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And that's the definition of a dad on guard. Right.
Yep.
We really can't go back in time and change
Nothing.
our past,
Nothing.
mistakes, our choices,
Nothing.
decisions, things we done back then. But now, today, we looking around us and saying, what can I do now?
Now.
What small win? And that's why it's so important. Your story fits the big win,
Right.
small win perfectly.
For sure.
Before
Because-
we started, I said I had a lot of losses.
Yeah, yeah.
But man, you got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing. And one of the reasons why I came on tonight to the younger generation, again, like we spoke about, my dad wasn't the most emotional. He wasn't the most vocal in terms of certain things. All it was is you better not have no babies because we ain't raising no babies, right?
Yep.
And the crazy thing is, like, when I gotta be at work all the way, they raise my baby for me.
Yep.
Like the beauty in it. But yeah, man, to the younger generation, sexual discipline. Sexual discipline.
Yep.
I know it feels good. I know you like it. But man, if you not,
Man, I got 7, so I know.
man, listen. You feel me? Like,
And they cost a whole lot.
and it costs a whole lot, man.
It's all over the place.
Through there, take me through there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, sexual discipline. Sexual discipline, man. If just don't make the same mistakes I did, man. Don't make the same mistakes I did. And it's difficult, man. I like to say, growing up in a 2-parent household, man, it's gonna be kind of weird. Growing up in a 2-parent household, man, it was like the biggest gift and the biggest curse of my life.
Yeah.
Because with this generation, so many came up in a single-parent household.
Yep.
So for so long, I was naive to thinking everybody wanted
The same thing.
the same thing,
Same
bro.
thing.
And
And I grew up the same way, like you, 2-parent household. And sometimes we had that vision in our head early on. Oh, we gonna step in this footstep, not knowing that everybody don't have that vision.
yeah, right.
So
That's a hard pill to swallow.
It's a hard pill.
It's a hard pill to swallow. But yeah, sexual discipline to my younger generation, man, and be the best you can be, bro. It's no manual, it's no instructions. You're not gonna be perfect. You're not gonna get it right. It's gonna be plenty of nights. You can sit up and cry, just know that it's not a destination. It's a journey.
Definitely a journey.
Yeah, father involvement is very important.
key.
The numbers show it.
The data, all of that.
All of
is,
that. And Kareem, we glad we had you on tonight, man.
Man, me too,
we
man.
appreciate you
Me too.
for coming
me too. I
because
appreciate y'all to the utmost, man. And from beginning to end, I felt safe. And again, I applaud what y'all doing, man, because so many people will benefit from the conversations.
Yeah.
So many people, bro.
Yeah.
So many people.
And that's one of the things that we're really trying to do. I teach. I teach. I'm a facilitator for like parenting classes. I do one called Supporting Father Involvement. And I created an owner's manual.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we need it.
I created an owner's manual. And it deals with that. It's actually going to be a 4-part series.
Yeah.
The first, because you have to become a different father every 7-8 years, right?
right.
And so the one that I just released, it talks about the 0 to 7 years
yeah.
and what provision and protection actually looks like, stability, setting structure, all of those things.
All around the board.
All around the board.
Right.
And so I just want to encourage you and anybody out there who may be listening that nothing grows in a comfort zone.
Right.
The easier the path, the more comfortable you are, the more lax you become.
Right.
When you go through adversity and you have to overcome it, that's when the most growth happens. And sometimes, had it not been for a bad situation, the blessing on the other side, you wouldn't have seen that blessing.
And the reward itself feels so good, man.
So good.
Yeah.
Man. And if you're anything like me, you know what type of standard you hold yourself to.
Yep.
And to know that I'm not pushing myself, it eats at my soul. You feel me? So just going through, just being comfortable, man, it's just a place that I don't want to be. For real, man.
Yeah.
But I definitely appreciate y'all, man.
No problem, man.
Man, I
Just the beginning, man.
One thing about it too is that you got a lot of times we have to make sure we're straight first,
Right.
so then we can be the person that our kids need
need us to be.
They need us to be.
Right.
Because if we're going through that, all the turmoil and everything, you got to work on yourself during the process and change things and take accountability to the part that you play.
That's key. That's number one. Accountability.
Own up to the
Accountability.
situation that you're in and look at what you want to change about it and attack it and get them small wins.
Right, right.
Then you can go back and get those big wins.
Big win.
Yep. So we do, like I said, we appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime, man. I'm willing to.
Yeah, come back.
man. I'm
You can
willing
definitely
to-
chop it up. You can be part of the panel.
Yeah.
And have these
Anything in
discussions.
life, not it don't gotta be, turmoil and crying and stuff. Anything.
We're gonna
man.
have some lighter. Definitely gonna have some lighter conversations. So we need people to like. We need y'all to share.
Facts.
On
Do that.
YouTube. We need y'all to subscribe,
TikTok,
Comment.
all that.
comment. If you're interested on being part of this podcast, you can reach out to me or Jamon. We definitely want to have more men on, telling their experiences, their stories. We're gonna help each other out in the process. We're a brotherhood.
My dogs at?
And this is Dad's on Guard, Dogs Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Roof.